Hello everyone, welcome to my Game Week 24 preview for ChampmanFPL. I hope you're having a good weekend. I'm really pumped for this week. I'm absolutely done with real football after what I've seen so far this weekend. Reading have been crap, FPL has been crap. Gaffer's been going pretty well for me, but yeah, the offside at Anfield today, I'm just done with it. Let's play a proper game where you don't get fucked over by morons at every turn. Let's play a really good game. Let's play ChampmanFPL. So current standings: Ajax trees down, Jandir still top of the pile. Been there for a few weeks now. Well played. How did he do this week? 61. Shearer captain, nice. Same as me. I think that means I made 3 points on the leader this week, so I'll take that. Good stuff. Still top of the pile. Second half league. FPL Thomas from the Man on Pod. Love that. 16th second half overall. Really engaged player, making the most of the information that's out there, making some good decisions lately. Thomas from the Man on Pod making moves for sure. How did he do this week? 74 this week. Nice stuff. Defender captain. Love that. Helgeson. Great stuff. Gardner, not an optimal captain, is a good captain pick. Not optimal, but love that. Still came out really, really well. Really good, strong team. Game week captain up there as well. Captain up there in the second half league. Loving that. Frenchie top of the game week. So loves a good moan in the Discord. Does Frenchie, but he smashed it this week. Shearer captain again. Good stuff. Gardner, yeah, good. Desai on the bench at home to Leicester. Not sure what you're thinking there, mate. You've played Gareth Wally. But, you still got team of the week. Can't argue with it. Oh, it's bench boost, so it doesn't matter that he's on the bench. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Bench boot team of the week. That's pretty good stuff. Right, what can we do about game week 24? Arsenal, Everton. Arsenal will attack at home. Everton will play defensive, but not tragically defensive. And I must admit, I was pretty underwhelmed by this. Yeah, I thought Arsenal might do a little bit better, but Everton have got a pretty good team, I suppose, and they're not. They maybe depending on how they line up, they're maybe not going to be outnumbered out wide. So yeah, I mean it's okay from Arsenal. It's only 3 times 3 out of 20 though. That's the bit that underwhelmed me. They've still got a good amount of clean sheets. They've still only blanked twice, so they look good for the win, don't they? But I just thought there might be a few more greens. It could still happen. It could still happen. I wouldn't put you off. Arsenal have got a really good run coming up. If you see this as the start of that really good run, I'm not going to argue too hard against that. It could easily be the case. But on the other hand, I still think there's maybe an argument for, I could maybe leave it a week and get on them next week. It's a tight call, that one. It's not as conclusive as I thought it would be. And player returns, pretty underwhelming from Henry. But it's one of those. If you get one of these, there's still nearly pretty much a 20% chance that they go off. You've got Henry man of the match once, twice, 3 times. There's still a fair chance that Henry is going to smash this. It's just not quite what you wanted to see, maybe. But it could still happen. Blackburn Borough. Blackburn always play normal at home. Borough will play normal away against an opposition like Blackburn. So in terms of the tactic, it's pretty evenly matched. And they're reasonably close in terms of the team that they're going to field, aren't they? Blackburn have got home advantage. You could argue they've got a slightly better team, so they're just edging it. But they're, it's not crazy. Borough aren't out of this. They've only blanked 3 times. So yeah, Blackburn by no means guaranteed a clean sheet in this game. 6 times out of 20 they've hit 3+. That's pretty good. So yeah, you've got a reasonable chance of both teams to score. One of them could score 2 or 3. It's not terrible for either team, and it's not ecstatically good for either team either. Player returns, so a few in double figures here. Box 6 Cepeda, Janssen, Sugai, all pretty consistent. Bent not far behind. So it's the usual guys, but I think the message is that neither team are out of the running in this game. Blackburn are slight favourites, but wouldn't rule out Middlesbrough. Don't particularly like defenders from either team. Derby Newcastle, so Derby will attack their home game, Newcastle will play normal. But in terms of formation, so Derby play with their wing backs or their one player out wide, and Newcastle always play a 4-4-2. So we've got that overlap situation, and Newcastle aren't too defensive. So even with their long ball, this looks all right for Newcastle because Derby aren't great in terms of the centre back options they've got. And Newcastle with Shearer and Court up front and Robert and Dyer out wide with that overlap are coming out pretty good. So I think this makes some sense to me if you factor all that in. I know Newcastle haven't been great in this sim, but if you factor in the formation, the tactics aren't too far apart, the quality of player, Newcastle have got the good players in all the right positions in this game, I would say. So yeah, I'm not going to dismiss what we're seeing here. I think it does make some sense. Newcastle's best players are Dyer and Robert out wide. They've got the overlap. Court and Shearer up front could profit from that. Derby's centre backs aren't brilliant. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the data on this one. I'm not going to question it. Newcastle look good. 6 times they've hit 3 or more. 9 clean sheets as well. That's maybe a little bit surprising with Derby's attacking tactic. Tactic. But yeah, the goal's 4 for Newcastle. Obviously, I'm not questioning it. I think it does make sense if you break it down. And player returns. So yeah, Robert, Dyer are doing really well. If they're doing well, then someone's going to profit from it, and so Alan Shearer is doing well in the middle. Another good week for Newcastle, I think, maybe. Leeds Bolton. So Leeds will attack. Bolton will play defensive, men behind the ball, I think maybe. There's a chance they don't play men behind the ball. This is one of those where the rep is sort of borderline. Do they see Leeds as one of the top teams? I'm going to say that they do, but there's a chance that they don't play men behind the ball. I don't think it'll make a massive difference. Leeds are still the better team, and they're probably going to come out on top. So Leeds look good for the win, look pretty good for a clean sheet. It's a match in formation, isn't it? Leeds and Bolton both played the same formation, so it really is a head-to-head in terms of the players. Leeds are better all over the pitch, really. So fancy them to win. And player returns, Viduka came out on top for me. Pedersen, yeah, these are really low numbers. You can almost write them off. If you just see this, it's like, yeah, Bolton might score a goal or 2. Leeds are probably going to score 2 or 3. You don't really need to tell me the players. You don't need me to tell you the players involved. I think Larsson could equally be up here with Viduka. It's one of those games where I'm not too interested in this. There's no clear mismatch anywhere on the pitch. The formation is matched. There's no overload anywhere. Leeds are just the better team, and probably one of their players is going to do well. Leicester, Man United. So Leicester attack at home. Man United will attack this rep opposition away from home. So again, pretty similar match in the tactic and the formation. But Man United have got much better players, haven't they? So they're coming out on top. But the fact Leicester are attacking, it just gives them this little squeak at the top here, just that outside chance that they could get. They could get themselves on top in the game and hit a few goals. But ultimately their players just aren't that good compared to Man United. So as I say, the attacking mentality, it just gives them that little squeak that some teams just wouldn't have against Man United. They give themselves a chance, but it doesn't mean that it's likely. And Man United themselves, say match in formation. Leicester aren't going to defend deep, so it really does open the door for United to a bit like Newcastle the other week, where Newcastle played attacking at home against them in a 4-4-2. It just leaves the door open for Man United's better players to come out on top in every area. So really like United in this one. 11 times they've hit 3 or more goals, 10 clean sheets. I think the 3 or more goals is the thing I really like. Because of Leicester's attacking mentality, I wouldn't bank the clean sheet. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets wiped out. But I do really fancy them to score a few goals this week. And player returns, Van Nistelrooy and Veron, neck and neck. As you would probably expect, Van Nistelrooy a few more goals and Veron a few more assists. Beckham / Chadwick out wide, Giggs. Yeah, it's just a good game for United. Liverpool-Watford. Liverpool will attack at home. I think Watford will probably defend this one. They won't be men behind the ball. And Liverpool coming out on top at home. But a little bit of a caveat here. So, I mean, Liverpool are often quite turgid, and a couple of their greens here have been assisted by a Watford red card quite early in the game. Liverpool scored most of their goals after it happened. So I flagged those there. So 7 times, 3 goals, 7 times out of 20. That's really high for Liverpool. But if these red cards don't happen, maybe it's only 5 times. But as ever, at home, Liverpool, good shot of a clean sheet. Away team probably aren't going to get much of a look in. Although they have scored 3 twice without a red card. Good effort. But fancy Liverpool to win by probably a goal or 2. With around about a 50% chance for clean sheet. Player returns, no massive numbers. Like all of these. Gerrard's injured, but Biscan if he's playing in his place. Petkov, Mr. Tommy, I'll take it for Watford. Lippmann seems to return regularly, doesn't he? Even if it's just off the bench. You know the guys at this point. Liverpool are probably going to win by a couple of goals. Man City Chelsea. So this one I think is a bit more interesting. I think this is maybe one where having the sim data is a bit of an advantage compared to people that don't bother with it. So Man City are going to attack this game. I think Chelsea play normal away from home. Really uninspiring from Chelsea. Comfortably under a goal a game average. So again, this is another 4-4-2 against 4-4-2, isn't it? So that can often be a recipe for if there isn't too much of a gulf between the two teams. A 4-4-2 against a 4-4-2 is quite often a recipe for a tight game, and we're kind of seeing that here with Man City's slightly more aggressive tactic, Chelsea just sitting off a little bit. It makes sense to me that if you add that all together, this is coming out quite tight. Chelsea are defending Man City's attacking tactic reasonably well, but they're not pushing forward too much themselves. So yeah, pretty tight. Clean sheets. Either team has got a fair chance of a clean sheet. The chances of either of them hitting 3 or more goals is really, really low, it looks like. So yeah, 0-0 or 1-1, 1-0 either way. Not great. I suppose most people have got, if they've got Chelsea players, they're going to be defenders, so you've still got a good chance, I suppose. This isn't necessarily bad news, is it? But if you brought attacking players in for the Leicester game last week, then I don't really like this game this week. Or if you benched One Shot last week and thinking, oh, he's got a home game this week, I don't massively like it. But he was the only player that showed any kind of consistency, so there's a silver lining there, I suppose. Millwall Spurs. Okay, I need a sip before this one. Tactics. Spurs, new manager. Alex McLeish through the door, it looks like. So I think Millwall will attack this one at home. So assuming Alex McLeish is the manager, Spurs will play normal mentality. So under Glenn Hoddle they would have played attacking, but they'll switch to normal in away games now against this kind of rep team, and they'll defend away against the big boys. They'll play short passing and tackling's hard. It switches all the time. That's in the wrong order. So I've only done 12 sims for this one. To be honest, the news only came out Thursday night. I didn't have time to run 20. And then I also saw the tweet that Aston Villa and Everton have also made some fairly significant signings. So I'm going to have to re-sim next week as well. So I just thought, that'll do. I think we've got a good enough picture here. So yeah, it's pretty uninspiring from Spurs. I don't know. I'm weighing this up in my own mind because I've got Selakovic in my team. I was determined I'm going to roll this week because ultimately I want to do Selakovic to Veron. But I've already got 3 Man United players. So if I was to do that this week, I can't do it unless I do a -4 because I'd have to get rid of Sylvester and Selakovic and then get Veron and another defender in, so it'd be -4. But Spurs are away to Millwall, so why am I transferring out a Spurs player? That's what I had in my head. And I think this just about keeps me of the same mind that Spurs are good for another week. But beyond that, I think I'd be thinking about managing my Spurs players out if you've still got them for the double. I don't really like them. Now Alex McLeish is in. They're going to play 4-4-2. It doesn't really suit the players they've got available to them. But I think we can just about get away with it just because they're playing Millwall this week. That's my feeling. So out of 12 sims, they've only blanked twice. So I mean, if they're gonna score, you can just cross your fingers that Rebrov Selakovic is involved. So yeah, they're gonna play a 4-4-2, and they'll either play like this with Selakovic in a dipped forward role here. Have I got the 4-4? No, I haven't. Okay, so they're either going to play 4-4-2 with Selakovic in a dipped forward here, or Selakovic will just play up front. It's a bit of a mixture. When you click through the different games, some games they play like this, and some games Selakovic is just up front, and the arrows look really unpredictable to me. So I'm interested to see if Andy and Luke on the Sunday night stream have got any different views. But to me, the attacking arrows look really unpredictable. So this is a home game against Watford, a low rep team. And they've played Selakovic in a dipped forward role. And the midfields don't have any attacking arrows on them, but the fullbacks do. But I see other home games where the wide players have massive attacking arrows on them, and then the fullbacks don't, and then Selakovic will just be up front. So I put this in as a kind of example of that. So this is a game versus Millwall, another low rep team. So the fullbacks don't have attacking arrows, but the midfielders do. You've got Bunyacevic pushing up here. You've got Selakovic pushing up, but he could play up front. So I'm rambling on a bit, but the message, the summary from it is they will definitely play 4-4-2. Selakovic will either play up front or he'll play here. And you might get some games where the wide midfielders are pushing on. So from that, maybe it's good for Fortune or Anderton. But I'm not too convinced. So I did do some a few stats on this, which I'll bring up now. So I thought I'd cut it out. Another talk amongst yourselves moment. So you can see here, so this is just under where I've been recording the match stats. So Quentin Fortune was one I thought might become interesting because he's a cheap midfielder. I thought, well, if he's going to be playing out, properly out wide and with attacking arrows, maybe it could be interesting for him. But it kind of looks like it's not really that interesting. So these are season-long sims with McLeish in charge. So he's not nailed. There's a couple of seasons here or a few seasons where he's not played much. He's definitely not nailed. And his returns are pretty patchy. So this one, 20 appearances, 1 goal, 8 assists. That's pretty good. One here, 32 games, 3 goals, 8 assists. That's not bad. But it's not really standout. I still think the 4.5 million midfielders that we know about are better options, like Alex Anderson, Wally, Hughes. I still prefer all of those three to Fortune, who's more expensive. Rebrov, not bad. I'd say this is slightly under what his season-long sims come out as with Hoddle in charge. So I think it's bad news for Rebrov. Although he's got a season here where he's hit 19, that really is an ambitious ceiling. These kind of general numbers are lower than if Hoddle was in charge over a whole season. And then Selakovic, same story really. He's got a similar ceiling to when Hoddle's in charge, but the chances of him being pretty terrible have increased, I would say. So yeah, the summary of it for me, just my opinion. I may get egg on my face from this, but I think this is a bad appointment for Spurs in terms of Champman FPL. I think the ceiling and the average of their best players has just come down a little bit, and I think we're lucky that we've got a week where they're playing Millwall, who aren't very good. We've got a week to kind of start managing their players out of our teams. That's my take on it. You've got one more week where you can get away with it without taking hits. That's my view. Okay, so let's get back to where we were. Sunderland Ipswich. Sunderland will attack this at home. Ipswich will play normal. So fairly open game. Good stuff. Both averaging over a goal a game, just about, or Ipswich like right on it. Sunderland higher ceiling with their attacking mentality. Clean sheets, don't really like it for either team. Yeah, pretty good home game for Sunderland. Arca, Phillips, Teal holders, or even Tome holders. I think you've got a fair chance. I definitely wouldn't be getting rid of any Sunderland players this week. There's a chance that would bite you in the arse for sure. And in terms of top returns, Phillips out on top, pretty consistent, 50% chance of him getting something. Teal, next best. But yeah, good home game for Sunderland. If you bought in Phillips last week instead of Shearer, and Shearer's ahead at the moment, isn't he? But you've definitely got a chance this week that Phillips could claw that back for you. And Villa Charlton. Villa attacking at home, Charlton normal. Villa smashing it, team of the week for me, along with Man United. Nice high ceiling, 3 times out of 20. 10 times out of 20 they've hit 3 or more goals. 8 clean sheets to go with it as well. Really good. It's rare you see a team with that many 3+ goals and that many clean sheets outside of Man United, Leeds, really. This is a really good opportunity for some differential captain pick, or maybe a treble up. It's that time of the season to make some moves. You've got a good opportunity here, I would say. And top returns, so Balaban and Angel. But again, as I always say, you could easily read Balaban as Dublin. If we think Dublin's going to play, there's no reason why you can't do just as well. And I have started re-simming the game with Alex McLeish in charge. And I'm going to have to re-sim it again, I think, with the Everton and Villa transfer news. So yeah, it's probably, I probably could have done it sooner, but oh well. I've reduced Beckham's reputation. I've reduced Balaban's reputation. So going forward in these sims, you'll probably see Dublin and Chadwick playing a bit more. But as I've always said all season, it's secondary to the team stats. If the position they're playing in is the important thing. There's no reason why, if Dublin's going to play, there's no reason why he can't do as well as Balaban here. So that's Villa Charlton. Really like that game. Attacking look ahead. So the start of a really, really good run for Arsenal. So I mean, they're green there. I mean, we saw that, my Sims churned out Arsenal being a little bit underwhelming. So I'm not going to panic about them this week, but they're definitely in my thoughts going forwards. Liverpool, I think, are on the cusp of a really good run, although they don't tend to score, lorry loads of goals. Watford at home looks all right. Sunderland away, they'll attack, and they've got Millwall at home, should be really good. Tottenham away, it's a pretty good run for Liverpool. Man City, I think, are on the cusp. So I was interested in this. I know that there's a lot of people that have wildcarded in the last couple of weeks and have gotten rid of Teatto. But I kind of think that was not the way to go. I've still got my wild card in hand. I think I'll play it in the next couple of weeks. And I think Teatto could well be in my team. He's had a little bit of a slump, but I think he's had some tough fixtures. And I think the likes of Teatio, Svensson, One Shop have got a good run ahead of them. Man United, yeah, best team. They're probably the best team in the league, and they've got 4 games in a row that look pretty good. Spurs, yeah, I think it's not so good for Spurs now. Actually, I'm going to remove that flame live on air. Yeah, I don't like them under Anish McLeish with the 4-4-2. But Sunderland, I think, have got some all right games. Ipswich home, Liverpool home. They will attack. I still fancy them to score against Liverpool without going crazy. Then Tottenham away, Chelsea home. Not too bad. Defensive look ahead. Arsenal good. Bolton pretty good. Not this week, but going forward, Bolton pretty good. Chelsea good. Leeds good. Liverpool good. Man United good. You can pause that and look at it yourself. Top returns for the week. Van Nistelrooy and Veron, can't split them. You could argue Veron's on top because he's a midfielder. He gets more points for his goals. Balaban / Dublin, Angel's on there as well. Fancy Villa to score a few goals against Charlton. Newcastle against Derby have definitely got potential. They've got everything going for them. They're not going to be playing defensive. The formation against Derby's formation is good. One of the few games this season where we'll see Newcastle coming out on top away from home. And Kevin Phillips, that home game for Kevin Phillips is pretty good. So I think that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll be joining FPL Dronic on the Man On podcast, recording tomorrow night. That will be out on Monday. So I think Dronic's on a wild card, so we'll probably be fairly Champman focused. I'm sure we'll be talking about his wild card options. We'll be talking about other FPL games as well. So look out for his tweet. If you're not already following the Fantasy Football Collective on Twitter, get following them. Look out for the tweet that's asking for questions tomorrow. Just follow them in general. Get yourself on the Fantasy Football Collective website. It's a new website from Jonick and FPL Thomas. Really, really good. Covers all the fantasy games: FPL, Sky, Gaffer, Champman, Elite Syrian, the Norwegian fantasy game, which runs over the summer. If you're a fantasy football fan, you need to be following Fantasy Football Collective and be reading the articles on the Fantasy Football Collective website. Or even if you're just a Champman player, there's articles on there from the likes of Craig Kemp. There's articles on there from, I think FPL Captain's got an article on there. FPL Whitebeard, the guy that runs the stats website, has got articles on there. There's loads of great stuff on there. One last plug, fantasyfootballcollective.org. Okay, that's the last one, I promise. Okay, good luck with the game week, guys. Cheers. See you next time.